Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Progressive Overload Podcast. Have you ever thought about strengthening multiple areas of your life at the same time? Then you've come to the right place. Our goal is to help you identify ways that you might need a progressive overload to push past those plateaus and keep you growing. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Progressive Overload Podcast. I am your host, Joe Copeland, and I'm joined by Dustin Moore and Adam Lazarine.
Episode 2.
Yes, I'm so excited. We have had such a fun week just seeing the feedback from our first couple episodes or episode and a half, and it's been fun kind of watching our socials grow and man, this is a dream, honestly. Like, I've always been a podcast listener. I think for 6 years I've commuted back and forth to work at least 30 minutes to an hour, and so it's been a dream of mine to eventually do this. So this has been just so much fun. So today, what we're wanting to talk about, the title of this podcast is going to be the lies that we tell ourselves. So damaging lies that we tell ourselves in our fitness journey, and then also our relationship with Christ, obviously. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really excited to go through this because these lies that we tell ourselves, they keep us from going to the gym. They keep us from starting our health journey, and they keep us from going to church and keep us from pursuing a relationship with Christ. And so it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about.
Yeah, we're going to get to all of that and more. But before we do that, let's check in on how we're doing with our fitness challenge. So I think Joe has some numbers. Maybe he can enlighten us again. On what
so
that is.
I posted this on our social, I think yesterday, because yesterday was weigh-in day. So I put in a little update on who is in the lead between us three and who is last. But so first place so far, start of week 4 of our competition is Adam,
the old
with
man,
5.82, the Keto King.
yeah, he's wearing that crown, dude. He knocked me off the spot for best rower out of the three of us this morning, too.
That is true.
I'm going to come back for it.
I bet you will. I will not tell you what it did to my workout after the row, but I did survive. I made it through my workout.
Yes.
It was difficult. Yeah,
between us three, we've been doing a 10-minute row challenge or competition just to compete with each other. And so far, Dustin has obliterated us, and then Adam took the crown this morning. So
I really didn't feel like I had much left to prove in my life at this point in my life. But I got on that rower and I thought, I feel like I can do this. And so I really put a little more effort into it, and it paid off.
You just wanted to beat the 30-year-old and the
20-something-year-old. Yes.
20 question mark.
Yes, for sure.
I know. So Adam's in the lead with in the competition at 5.82%.
How much have you actually lost poundage-wise?
Gosh, what did I tell you?
I think it was 16-something pounds.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And then Dustin is in second place at 5.29% lost.
14.2 pounds.
Yeah,
that's so far.
And I think I'm at 5.14%. I think I was like 14.2% also, but I started a little bit heavier than he did.
Let's take a moment and just breathe that in for a second. Just celebrate that with the three of us and our listeners as well. If you're joining us and going along with us, just take a breath and pat yourself on the back. It's okay. Even if it's only a couple of pounds, or if you're doing a little bit better than us and have lost 15, 20 pounds, we are proud of you, and
that's awesome.
Looking forward to hearing how you're doing as well.
Yeah, we celebrate with you just as much as you're celebrating with us. This is about us all being in it together and seeing progress through our own journeys as we walk through these next few weeks together.
I know. It's been a lot of fun, man.
Yep, and we're going to keep it up. So,
all right. So Joe,
you've
got this topic for us, and I think I have some thoughts on these things as well, and I can certainly see whether these lies have impacted my personal life as well in my journey. And so I know you have a few lies that you want to touch on today, and I think we might even have some more in the future to make a part 2 of this.
Yeah, most likely.
But what is the first one? And what is the first one? And I also ask, did you label these in order? Is there any kind of order to these that you see them more or less damaging than the others, or is this just a compiled list?
No, I don't think there's any order to it. And it's if I put it in order of importance to me, that's going to be different for you, and different from other people who have different behaviors. And so, number one that I wrote on is something that I see all the time, being in the fitness world, but also just being in spending 40 hours a week in a gym and with clients. And so the lie that we tell ourselves is, if I lose weight or if I gain muscle, I'll finally be happy. Y'all ever felt that?
Dude, I have lived in the pit of despair that lie is.
Yeah.
That is well put. It is a pit of despair.
It really is.
It is.
Because it's so underwhelming. Yeah. Because even if you reach that point, you're still not satisfied.
Exactly. And that's what we see with, last episode I was picking on bodybuilders, but as we explained, bodybuilders have notoriously very poor self-images. And very many of them, even when they're on stage, doing their poses, winning medals, they still have those insecurities. They still need, oh man, I wish my calves were bigger. I wish my pecs were bigger. I wish I would have been a little bit more lean. Even when they're at the pinnacle of the way our body, or the maximum amount of muscle that our body can hold, they're still not happy. And so why do you think that is?
I don't know. Having walked through this process myself, I think we've talked about it in one of our previous episodes, one of the first two. I went through a pretty severe weight loss last year, and it really was life-changing all in all. But the craziest thing about the entire process that I saw was at the end of that weight loss, when I looked in the mirror, I saw the same image that I had before. I didn't see myself. And then I saw pictures of what I looked like before and went, wow, like that's what I looked like.
Yeah.
And it was for me, it was because I focused on the flaws, right? I didn't focus on the progress. I didn't focus on the steps that I had made.
Exactly.
I still saw those same things that bothered me beforehand, and it continued to eat away at me. And I let it do that. Yeah. And for me, that was kind of the biggest thing, is I kind of let it sink its teeth in a little deeper than I should have.
So is there a balance somewhere between letting the mirror be part of your accountability or just letting the mirror be a liar? I don't understand.
Most of the time, I would say the majority of the time, the mirror is a liar. If people see what their ego sees, if that even makes sense. I can, my wife even, she's a freaking 10, but then when she looks in the mirror, she does not see that at all. And I hate that so much. I'd say it all the time to her. I was like, gosh, I wish you saw what I saw,
Yes. Yeah. So many of us have probably said that to our wives.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Or thought that on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
Not yet, Dustin. I heard that. I did hear that.
Yeah.
So, oh, man. So, we also see this with, that's why, the plastic surgery industry is just massive. Just because people are always going to be chasing happiness by changing the way they look. And that's why they'll start with, I don't know all the vernacular, but they'll start with the lips, and then they'll get Botox here, then they'll get implants here, and then they're just chasing that happiness, and it's hard to watch on the outside. I can say confidently I've always been a pretty insecure person, and so I can understand that, but not to a point that I've seen a lot of people, and it's sad to watch. Just because they're going to keep on getting those surgeries or even, weight loss surgery and stuff like that. It is life-changing for a lot of people. But, when we're looking for happiness by the way we look, we will always fail.
So in that way, if we're talking to people or somebody's listening that has had that struggle, one of the things I always like to go back to is something that we talked about in the athletic training world. As we were going through psychology of all of this, we talked about Muhammad Ali.
Okay.
And the reason why we talked about him was because he was unequivocally the greatest self-talker in all of the world. what did I'm the greatest. And he would say that.
Yeah.
And over, he would remind himself of that. And so as we talk about our self-image and our value, it's important for us not to get around people that will tell us what we want to hear, but for people that will find the value in who we are, what we look like, and love us anyway, and walk with us if we need help in our fitness journey. To walk alongside of us and go, I know it's hard. I know rowing for 10 minutes is terrible. I get it. And just be able to not come out on the other side and be so egotistical that you think you're the greatest. But it's that mindset of you have to create a new soundtrack in your head. Yeah. Cut a new groove in the record, however you want to put that. And so if you can do that or find people that will help you do that, then it'll help you take that first step to get away from just looking in the mirror and going, I'm unhappy with what I see. Yeah.
I mean, we could, in the future do a whole entire episode about changing the way we think and the power of our mind and the self-talk that we do every day. So I'll make a note. We definitely need to do that because it is so powerful. Right. So, gosh, when I think about having that, that mentality of, okay, I'll finally be happy if I do this, I see that a lot in the church, for, maybe a new believer who, they finally, okay, I'll start going to church so that maybe my life will get a little bit easier and maybe I'll finally be happy, And so, obviously that's good because maybe it's getting them in church and then we can change their mindset from there. But I think that we see that pretty often. Wouldn't y'all say that?
Yeah, it's an issue of motivation. Yeah, almost. It's the I'm going to approach this because of what I can get out of it.
Exactly.
And to do that almost disconnects oneself from actually being an active part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And as we're talking about happiness and what that looks like on the fitness level and then turn it on our spiritual level, I think about a couple of things. In a factory or a plant or even in our cars, we have certain gauges that we're supposed to watch. Yeah. And even a check engine light that comes on in our car to help us know when something is wrong. But where we tend to lose this battle spiritually is we let our feelings become the gauge by which we make decisions. Yeah. And our feelings are terrible gauges for decision making. Because you think about waking up tomorrow morning and deciding, I feel like I want to drive on the wrong side of the road. Well, you might feel that way, but it's going to lead to a really critical error in your judgment. So. And so your feelings can never be the means by which we make a decision. They can be a gauge that we glance at and say, something's out of whack because I don't feel right. And your feelings are designed by God and they're supposed to be there. And we're supposed to use them, but not to use them to make decisions by. So when you're looking for happiness in your spiritual life, you can't just go by what you feel all the time.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. I think about the mindset, of tithing. I've heard a preacher say before, or they kind of teach the concept of tithing in order to get something back. Mm-hmm. And I think whenever we do that with that mindset of if I do this, I will get something back. I think that's probably not where our mind should be whenever we're giving to God. Right. So, anything else on number one that y'all like to talk about? There's a lot that can be said about finding happiness, and it's very difficult. But so number two is this lie that we tell ourselves. I don't want to go to the gym because I think everybody there is just so judgmental. I'm afraid that people are just going to judge me, And this is such a damaging lie because it keeps people from, entering the place where they can get healthy. And, I'm not, obviously I'm a gym manager, so I want everybody to come work out at the gym because that'd be awesome. But obviously you don't have to go to a gym to exercise. But for the most part, the majority of people do better when they have a place that they have to go to exercise. And so, and what I wanted to say about that is just the gym is a true melting pot of people who are there to better themselves. Mm-hmm. It's a place where you can go where people are like-minded. It's a positive environment, and I want I tell my members that I want them to walk out feeling better than when they came in. And it's just a positive place. And so if you think people are judging you while you're exercising, that's usually coming from an insecurity in your mind. There will be some outliers where, there's this jerk, or you might be in a bro gym at like, a big, gym where there's just a bunch of bros. And what do y'all think of when I say bro?
I think of a different type of gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so have any of us ever experienced that shame in the gym? And I guess that's what I equate it to, is being shamed.
Yeah.
Like you don't lift enough weight, or you're not doing it right, or that machine intimidates you, or and it may be different for each one of us, but have you ever experienced that?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, like this lie specifically was a preventative for me. It stopped me from doing what I needed to do for so long.
Yeah.
I don't shy away from the fact that I really enjoy running. I enjoy cardio. I know I'm crazy. It is what it is.
Get a brain scan for Dustin.
Yeah, right.
Order that up right now.
Yeah. However, when I was first starting, right, when I was trying to pursue anything, it was so easy for me to run because I could put headphones in, block out the world, and I felt like nobody was looking at me.
Yeah.
And that was where the enjoyment from it
that makes sense.
originated.
Yeah.
And as far as like pathing, like where I would run, like I would specifically run in spots where I felt like I would not be seen.
I see.
Because I didn't want eyes on me, because I felt judged. I felt embarrassed in a sense.
Yeah.
And those insecurities that kind of built up over time as I was growing up, that was my way of tackling it, but not really facing it, right?
Yeah.
And eventually I was able to overcome that, and now it's nothing, and I don't care. Look at me, if you will. I am what I am, and I'm working on it.
Just on that note, yesterday Dustin amazingly ran 6 miles on the treadmill.
Oh man!
And Joe and I happened to be there as he was finishing, and we were actually talking. So this is judgment in a whole different level. We were talking about. I said, maybe if I just stare at him long enough, he'll get off, because he knows that I'm shaming him. And he was running. He had no idea what I was saying behind his back. So I'm bringing this to light, Dustin. You and I can talk it out later. And then he stopped shortly after that, not because I was looking at him at all, but he was just to his goal. And so what did you and I do, Joe, whenever he stopped?
We dropped what we were doing. We applauded him.
That is correct. Because we were envious of his distance that he ran, and so in a certain way, I guess we did judge you, but it was judged based on your skill and performance on the treadmill, and we appreciated your effort.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Like oftentimes we just automatically connect the dots between judgment and it being like this negative connotation, right? However, there's also a positive side to that, right? Like there is some judgment that is there, that is constructive, right? That helps to build you up rather than tear you down. And I think we live in a world where we're so used to that more destructive judgment that does tear us down, that's naturally what we think of, especially when people look at us.
Yeah.
And sometimes it has nothing to do with anything. It's happened more and more here recently. I have this like step goal where I like to try and walk a certain distance a day. And as part of that, sometimes when I'm working out in the gym and I haven't hit my goal, I'll start walking around in between sets, I stay out of people's way. I don't try and get too close or go into personal space, but every once in a while there'll be somebody there that I know, and they'll try and like talk to me, and I have no idea that they're there. Right. And sometimes it like I feel weird because I'll be like mid set and I'll be curling or something, and my eyes will just be straight forward, and somebody will happen to be in front of me, and I'm like, I hope they don't think I'm like staring at them, because I'm not. I have no care or clue that they're there. Right. And so it's kind of different, but I think that's where a lot of individuality comes into it, and how we react to those things.
If you're a new gym goer or haven't been in a long time, you know, what I always tell people who come to me and they're timid about doing that, just, I promise you, after you get in there and get one workout in, you'll realize, oh, these people are just here for themselves. You know, they're not here to look at me and to judge me. And most likely, like, I love helping out people that are new because, you know, I love teaching people. But if you get into a place where you need help or you don't know how to work a machine, I promise you, some of the most seasoned gym goers and maybe the fittest people back there would absolutely be delighted to help you. You know, it would be a highlight of their day to help you set up that machine or help you or make sure that hey, can you help me with this machine? Will you help me with this exercise? Make sure I'm doing it right. That would be, I mean, especially somebody who's not a trainer, you know, they'd be like, oh man, they think I know what I'm doing. I would love to help them, you know?
And that's a good point, you know, especially for me. Like, I consider myself to be fairly observant, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times when I'm in the gym, listening to music, whatever I'm doing, you know, whatever you got me doing, I'll be looking around. And if somebody's there and working out, like, I'll take notice of what they're doing. Yeah. Especially if there's somebody I know who's much further along in a fitness journey. And it has nothing to do with me judging them or me trying to stare them down, but a lot of times it has to do with me actively learning by seeing them do something I haven't done, because all of this is so new to me. And you know, it may look weird that I'm watching, but it's genuinely me processing, like, hey, like, what is that targeting?
Exactly.
Why are they doing that? Can I do that?
Right.
I certainly can't do it with the 405 pounds that they've got on the bar, but maybe if I drop that down a little bit, maybe I can hit something, you know?
Right. Yeah, it's different for everyone. And I think, Joe, you were alluding to the fact that probably 98% of the people you run into in the gym just want to get their workout in and go on about their day.
Exactly, yeah.
And the rest of the fitness world, you know, is pretty similar. So no matter where your gym is or what level you're at, you know, just step in. Just step into the gym. Understand that yes, there will be some judgment, but some of it could be good. Some of it could be to your benefit. And that will be good. So as we move from the fitness level to the spiritual level, this is a word that gets tossed around so much in the church. And when you talk about church, and well, when I go to church, I'm feeling just judged. And I think so much of what that is, some of it is true, just like in the gym. You do experience some judgmental people, but so much of it goes back to our own personal insecurities about what either we are experiencing, what stage of life we're in, or what peak or valley we've been through, and what people think, and the narrative that we have written for those people. Our brains are hardwired for storytelling. I don't know if you guys realize that. That's why we enjoy movies so much, because there's a beginning, a plot, probably a plot twist somewhere along the way, and then a conclusion. And our brains are just built for that. And so in the church particularly, we will walk in the door and begin to write other people's stories for them. And we are masterful at it. And we use it as excuse after excuse after excuse not to engage. And so as we transition to the church and the spiritual side of this and judgment, what else do you guys think about when you think of that?
Yeah, I think really I flash back to when I first started coming around the church, because I didn't grow up in church, right? I didn't start attending church at all until I was in high school, and one of my best friends invited me to join him. And you know, at first that was Wednesday night youth program, because that was like the big pull. And then it was like, hey, you should come with me on Sunday morning. I'm playing guitar at the church. I'd love for you to come listen to me. Absolutely. You're my friend. I'm going to come support you. And then I walk through the door and I see how people are dressed, right? And for me, this was a big thing, because I didn't have like the dress clothes to be all like suited up in a sense. And what I did have, I considered or told myself didn't look good or didn't fit well enough for me to look as clean. And so I looked around, and it was honestly intimidating, and I felt that judgment. And now looking back, I know that there was no judgment there. There was only love. but a lot of it was just on my own mental side of assuming it was there in a sense.
Yeah. When I think about, you know, this correlation is, you know, how so many people have told me that, you know, I don't want to go to that church because they're full of hypocrites, or I don't want.
There's the word.
the H word.
Yeah.
And it keeps people from going to church because not going there. There's a bunch of hypocrites there. You know.
Right.
They're so fake.
Yeah.
Right. The actual Greek word for hypocrite is actor.
Really?
How does that land on what you guys think about that word?
I mean, it fits.
It's that mental image of putting on the mask and being who I'm not.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That is exactly it. That's exactly it. You're pretending to be what you're not. And I think at some level, the church was ahead of social media in this because we have been doing it in the church far longer than we've been putting on the screen. You know, because everything that you see posted on people's social media pages and feeds and videos and stuff is just a covering for what they really are.
Yeah.
And some of it's good and some of it's accurate and a lot of it is true. But the church was ahead of the game on this because we've been doing that at the church for a long time.
It's a public forum for the conversations that would be had if it wasn't there.
Right.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I remember a passage of scripture, and it's Matthew chapter 15. It says, this people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far away from me. But in vain do they worship me, teaching as doctrines the precepts of men. That's it's just that idea that we put our worship out there and our heart may be a long way from where it should be.
Yeah.
And that is the definition of being something that we are not.
Wow. Yeah.
And it's tough because when you come to that realization, then you have to wrestle with it.
Yeah.
Then you have to deal with it. And whether it be in our fitness journey, you know, we might say, look in the mirror or write on the wall, you know, I am this, whenever we realize we're not.
Yeah.
And so it's okay to write things like we are strong, we are brave, we're all those things that we hear. But whenever our heart is not in the right place, then spiritually we are out of alignment.
Yeah. So what's your quick elevator sell to someone who says, I'm not going back to church because they're full of hypocrites?
Good. Congratulations. I'm with you. That is my quick pitch to them because I tell them, you are correct. You are absolutely correct. And I am one of those hypocrites. Yeah. Because there are moments whenever I get it right and so many moments when I get it wrong. But the church as a whole, particularly from the pastor, they do not hear that or see that. You know, my family does, and they know when I get it wrong. But I would say I am with you 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I see it almost as, and thinking back to my initial experience, I see it almost as if when I first walked in, I viewed it as like this museum for the holy, right? Where these people were elevated and they were like statues, like picture perfect, right? I didn't see what was underneath, and so I felt different. Yeah. But in reality, what is the hospital? The church, it's a hospital for the broken, right? Like it's where those broken people are, right? Where they're getting help, just like me, right? They may be hypocrites, so am I, in some sense. Exactly. And it's not so much that we're different, but it's because we're the same that we're banding together and helping each other.
Man, that word museum just...
Museum.
It
Museum
resonates.
Of the holy.
Well, it gives me this idea of we're walking through and looking at something and nothing is coming back at us, because that's pretty much what you do in a museum.
Yep.
And so anyway, we can move on. It's just a thought.
No, I love it. All right, so real quick, the last one I wanted to talk about is this lie that we tell ourselves. You know, I feel like eating like crap today, but it's okay. I'll just make up for it by working out a little bit longer. I think this creates, once again, a poor relationship with food, but also a poor relationship with exercise. I think whenever we work out with the mentality of burning calories, we will almost always be discouraged and probably not hit the goals that we're wanting. Yep. So, I mean, think about, you know, how easy it is to eat 300 calories versus how hard it is to burn 300 calories. Yeah. You know, when you think about it like that, it can be very discouraging. And so that's why if we exercise in the means of building muscle, becoming more functional, being able, like my favorite one that resonates with so many people is being able to play with my kids, play with my grandkids. You know, that one always puts things into perspective, because you don't want to be that person that can't get up off the floor.
Yeah.
Therefore, you're missing out on precious moments with your kids and with your grandkids. You know, speaking of cardio, if I don't have the cardio to chase my daughter around our house, because that's what we do every single day, you know, I'm missing out on those moments, you know? And so that's how we should approach exercise, with that type of mentality, not with a means of burning calories. And you know, a little side note, your watch telling you burned 700 calories in a workout is a lie. They almost always overestimate how many calories you're actually burning.
Right.
I
just pulled up something online quickly.
Yeah.
So if you're listening and you're wondering just what it takes to burn 300 calories, because that's the analogy that you went with, you can do an elliptical for 42 minutes.
Yeah.
If I eat for 42 minutes, I'm probably going to overdo 300 calories.
I think so.
Let's just pick on a couple more. Pilates, 125 minutes to
for
burn
300 calories.
That's a lot of Pilates. 28 minutes of rock climbing, which is a little more difficult.
Yikes.
Man, so there's the step machine, 56 minutes. I mean, you're going to put in an hour plus for a lot of these types of exercises that that are in the industry already, that you know, if you're walking into the gym, I'm going to get my cardio in. Here's another one, Zumba, 56 minutes. What Zumba class have you ever been to, period, for any of the three of us? And if you've been to one, did it last 56 minutes?
Does that list have Tai Chi?
Let me look.
I think in Tai Chi you're probably burning 100 calories in an hour.
Okay.
Maybe. It does have some yoga,
It's
but
so
yoga
slow.
is no joke.
Yeah. Tai Chi's for the mind.
Hey, so Joe, like,
what's up?
rough guess, 300 calories, like, we're looking at these exercises, you know, how many slices of pizza is that?
1 to half of one.
Depending on what's on it and what the crust is made out of, right?
There it is.
We're back to pizza, man, every week.
Yeah.
Hey, everything goes back to pizza.
That's very true.
So just don't approach your exercise as a way to burn calories. That's not the purpose of burning calories. We burn calories by increasing our metabolism, by increasing our muscle mass. So that's if you want to burn calories, build muscle. Don't do 142 minutes of Pilates.
Yeah, something like that.
Anyways,
it's difficult because this is one of those lies that in all of these, I think for all of these, you have to let it sink in somewhere, because there are lies that we just don't believe, like the earth is flat. You know, nobody believes that because we know it to be a lie. Yeah. But when we hear these somewhere in our brain, we let them in. And so once you believe them, this is one of those that's really difficult, because I have said on many occasions, and it's jokingly, but it's really, I guess, somewhere at my core somewhere, it is a truth. I work out so I can eat. Yeah. You know. Yeah. Or I'll work out extra knowing that I'm going to eat bad. Yeah. And it, like you said, it just goes back to a poor relationship with food, and it's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. I messed up, so I'm going to punish myself. Yep. And, then we'll be back on top of things, because that's what's going to fix it. Right. Yep. In reality, it's not. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like, you're a repeat offender, right? In a sense, it creates that mental connection of, it goes from, oh, I ate this way, so I have to work out. Yeah. To, oh, if I go do this, that means I can have it. And that's where that unhealthy relationship with food starts to creep in and eventually takes over.
Right. Yep. Because we realize that there is a lie built into that says I can outwork a bad diet. Yep.
Yes.
And so that's definitely
that myth has been crushed time and time again, but it won't leave the market.
Yeah, we keep trying it.
I know. It's like, oh, maybe if I just try a little bit harder.
Maybe this time. Last time didn't work out. Maybe if I try this.
That's untrue for 99 out of 100 people. I'm the one.
All right.
Yeah. I am the exception.
I'm the greatest.
So do y'all see this a lot in church whenever, or in our lives, whenever maybe we sin and we feel really guilty about it, and so let's just make up for that sin by, I'm going to go mow my neighbor's yard, or I'm going to tithe a little extra this month because I feel really guilty about doing that thing, What do y'all think about that?
I think you're absolutely right. We see it, and probably this is one of those things that goes unseen, but you know about it because people like to tell about it. Whenever they actually do something extra or beneficial, or they go outside of their norm to make strides for the kingdom, then they want you to know how much extra they've done.
Yeah.
Which goes back to motivation.
Yeah.
And so I do know that it's present in the church, and I know it's present in our spiritual lives, because who wouldn't go down that road? Well, I really messed that up yesterday. I better get back to reading my Bible or praying or doing these works. That is the word. That's the linchpin word for the church, is let me do works to make up for my decision making.
Yeah, my works. It's the idea of, my works will make everything better, right? It's putting our entire our trust, our faith, everything into those works, and it's just so wrong. Right?
It's backwards.
It's backwards, because in reality there is nothing we can do. End of the day, it doesn't matter whether I mess up and sin, or I go and help somebody and do the greatest thing in the world, solve world hunger, right? Regardless of those acts, my works are still human works.
Right.
They're imperfect because I'm broken, because I am human.
Yep. I think in James chapter 2 it says, but someone may well say, you have faith and I have works. Show me your faith without the works, and I will show you my faith by my works. And so we have it backwards in our brain, that our works create our relationship with God, when our relationship with God
creates those works.
Our works.
It's an outpouring of love, right? As we're filled with the Holy Spirit, as we grow in our relationship with Christ, these works and these things that change in our lives start to overflow naturally. It becomes a natural reaction.
Exactly.
To where you compare it to our previous example of somebody who goes and does something and begins to almost brag about it, right? It's so unnatural for someone to go and do something like that, because where's the focus being put? Right? If our works are flowing from our faith, then the priority is giving God the glory.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But if I mess up and now I'm going to use these works to try and fix that or make myself feel better, who's centric in that? I am.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just all goes back to working out because you love your body, not because you hate your body. We talked about our body being a temple because we want to take care of it. We're not punishing ourselves by trying to make ourselves righteous, And so, oh man, I love that stuff. I mean, that was good stuff, Justin, why don't you give us a quick synopsis of kind of what we just talked about?
All right, so as we are wrapping up and getting ready to conclude today's episode, we have talked about lies that we tell ourselves both in the gym and how they connect to our spiritual lives as well. Number 1, if we lose weight or gain muscle, I'll be happy. In reality, our happiness isn't found in that, and we're just placing it in something that is so intangible that we can't really achieve, and misguiding ourselves. And then there in the church side of that, if I start going to church, if I get saved, if I start tithing, if I start to do these things, if I work harder at my faith, maybe life's going to get easier. And in reality, it's not. Number 2, if I don't want to go to the gym, it's because, all those people are going to judge me. In reality, no. The judgment may be there, but it's not going to be what you thought it was. Maybe it's constructive in helping you out, for one, because we all need that accountability. But no, those people who are in the gym are there to work on themselves just like you. Don't let that be something to push you away, as so many, including myself, have done for an extremely long time. Get in there and get to work. Don't put it off. Number 3, I ate like crap, so I'll make up for it by working out extra. I messed up, and now I need to fix it. That's not the right way to look at things. No, because we love ourselves, because we don't judge each other, and we're accepting, and we love each other, right? Going back to that number 2, those people in the church, they're broken and messed up just like you. They're working on themselves just like you. Me being messed up and broken, I can't outwork that.
No.
There is one who can, though. That is Christ.
That's right.
And so as we make that connection, I can't outwork a bad diet. I can't outwork my sin either.
No.
Right.
That's where Jesus comes in.
Right.
Adam, you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I think like one of our professors always would tell us as we were doing Bible study and learning about theology and those kind of things, he would always tell us, you are safer doing those kind of things in community.
Yeah.
And so as we are looking at these lies that we believe, if you have a lie running around in your head, on whatever level, and it may be right in the forefront of your brain, it may be recessed somewhere way back in the depths of your being, that lie, when brought to the light of a community, can be exposed. And so whenever you are in doing Bible study or scripture reading, you're safer whenever you're doing those things together, because you can bounce ideas off one another and make sure that you are keeping yourself grounded in scripture and not going off on these tangents. And I feel like in the fitness world, that's where we end up letting these lies creep in, as we get out on these tangents, go, that will work, or that sounds good. So it's appealing to me because it sounds good. So let's try it. But if you had a community of people to walk with you, they'd probably reel you in and go, yeah, that's probably not a good idea. And so let's get into the community, whether it's our faith or our fitness, and walk together.
I love it.
Yeah, and let's do that together. You know, as we're closing things out, don't forget, connect with us on social media. Like we've said time and time again, and you better get used to hearing it, because we'll say it some more. We want to build a community. We want to be in community with you. So like us on Facebook, follow our page, like us on Instagram, follow that page as well, as we begin to and continue to share progress of our own journeys and our own stories, most immediately through our 60-day contest that we're doing, but even beyond that. And don't be afraid to be there for each other, to be that encouragement as we begin to grow this community of people who are connected with us, Progressive Overload Podcast. We want to make sure that we are able to push each other.
And, you know, even if you consider yourself a seasoned exerciser, you know, you feel like you got exercise, you got nutrition nailed down, still tune in. I think we have such a great message, and I truly believe that what we have to say is so much different than what's out there already. You know, I don't think there's very many people talking about how to exercise and how to eat and to in a way to glorify God, you know, and not make exercise a worldly thing, but make it a spiritual thing. And I really, truly, wholeheartedly believe that is an answer to a lot of our problems and you know, approaching health and fitness in that mindset. And so, anyways, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Make sure to share this episode with everyone. Go to our Facebook, invite your friends to like our page, help us spread this message, and we'll see y'all next week.
That's right.